That's a travel. That's not a travel. Everything is a travel. Everything isn't a travel. Back in my day. Well, homie, this is my day. Class started 4 hours ago. Oh, am I late? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I did that, you guys. But everything's a travel these days. Back in the Michael Jordan days, I would have just stuck you in the jaw if you traveled into my paint. How dare you come into my paint and try to take 2.5 steps and act like I'm not just gonna boom, I'm gonna elbow you. I'm going 12 to 6, 12 to 6, and I'm just gonna bust your forehead open because I don't follow UFC rules, but I do follow NBA rules, and that is a travel. We have right over here a little article for our viewing pleasure. Probably the last 5 or 6 years or so. Let me know if y'all have noticed it. I definitely noticed it myself, but you'll see players get on their pivot foot. Let's say their left foot is their pivot foot and they're pivoting their ass off. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just pivoting it up. Pivot it away, brother. Pivot your heart away. So they're pivoting. It's all good. Just pivot, pivot. And then left foot's their pivot foot. They step through onto their right foot, pick up the left foot, step through into the paint, and go up for an easy layup or whatever shot it is. They go up to pass the ball, whatever it is. They go to the step through move. I'm sounding like an unk right now because, again, back in my day, back in even like the 2010s, 2015, even back then, I feel like not until probably 2020s and going on, honestly, these past 5 years, we see that so much where players establish their pivot foot again. Let's say it's your left foot, pivot, pivot, take that step through, pick up the left foot, move on to the right foot, and go up for your shot at the rim. We used to never see this before. And kind of the first times I started seeing this, I'm like, is this even legal? But apparently it is legal. Obviously, we see it happen all the time. The refs aren't, I was about to say giving people flags. The refs aren't blowing the whistle for that. So, it honestly is a legal move. I feel like players just weren't doing it back then. Then some player started reading the rule book one day and he went for the step through, and the ref probably tweet blew his whistle and said that's a travel. And the NBA player said, actually, according to my calculations, and took out the NBA rulebook and said, if you see right here, Article 7, Section 17, page 29 of the NBA rulebook. It's 1,000 pages long right here. If you see right here, according to my calculations, that move actually is completely legal. Right here, this is the quick little Reddit. This is Uncle Drew Fu. Again, this is from 4 years ago. So, like I was saying, about the last 5 or 6 years, I started noticing this a lot. So just kind of like what I was saying, I'm reading and learning that a step through is actually a legal move. Again, the step through, have your pivot foot, say it's your left, step through for your right, pick up your left foot and go into your shot. Because the way I used to think about it, apparently I just didn't read the rules. Let me know if you felt the same way. I thought once you establish your pivot foot, if you pick up your pivot foot, it's just a travel no matter what. If you slide it, of course, that's a travel all day if you slide it. But I thought if you just pick it up, it's just a travel all day. They used to call the game like that. I swear they would. And then, now you can just go straight to that step through move, pick up your pivot as long as you don't put it down before you take your shot. So go up off of one foot and take your shot, pass, whatever you're going to do. You're all good. But I swear, let me know if you remember. I swear they used to call that, even like back in 2010, 2015, you couldn't do that step through. But like I said, someone busted out that rule book according to my calculations, ref, right here, Article 17, page 33. It actually is legal. So Uncle Drew was kind of just saying what I'm saying. If I come to a complete stop and establish a pivot, how can I lift that and come down on my non-pivot? Makes zero sense to me because what if I jump, shoot? Does that mean I can come down on my non-pivot first, then release? That's a travel all day. He's kind of talking about if you jumped off your left and landed on your right. If both of your feet get off the ground at the same time and you land, of course that's a travel all day. But again, back to the step through stuff, it was just so confusing because honestly, it seems like it came up just over these past 4 or 5 years, and now all the players are doing it, and it just seems like it makes the game more easy. I'm a hater of new basketball. Not really. I love the Jordan era, Kobe Duncan era. I still love the new school basketball era. I'm a Spurs fan. I watch Victor Wembanyama, and I'm not gonna hate on watching the alien play. Y'all should appreciate basketball more if you're some 90s fanboy and all these players are taking too much threes. Shut up. Stop watching the game if you hate it so much. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Here's the NBA rules right here. I was trolling, but actually, Rule 10, Section I think that's 13. If you know your Roman numerals, let me know. Traveling, I'm not going to read this whole thing. Y'all aren't here to watch me read, but if you just see right here, so starting, here's the enforcement of the rule, but all this right here, this is all for the traveling rule. So it's freaking, I swear that's like 12 different lines. This whole thing is all just different things to kind of define what traveling is. Again, I'm not going to read all of this for you guys. Y'all probably don't want me to, but there is one thing in here. If a player with the ball in his position raises his pivot foot off the floor, so right there, that's the part. So if he raises the pivot foot, so say your left foot is your pivot foot, you step through on your right, pick up the left foot to go to your step through move off of that pivot, it says right here, he must pass or shoot before his pivot foot returns to the floor. So I don't know if they made some adjustment to the rules recently. I'm pretty sure this has always been the rule. Then if he drops the ball while in the air, he may not be the first to touch the ball. Of course, you can't basically shoot an air ball and go grab the ball yourself, is what they're saying. But I haven't seen anything where this was like a new added rule. This has always been in the rule book. So again, if a player with the ball in his possession raises his pivot foot off the floor, picks up the left foot, goes to the right foot for his step through, then he must pass or shoot before the pivot foot returns to the floor. That's the NBA rule, so that's all good. I guess that's always been the rule, but again, I used to never see players do that until like 18, 19, probably like 6, 7 years ago. Within the past 5 or 6 years, it's just getting crazy. You see so many players do that, and it just frustrates me honestly. I'm gonna get to the FIBA rules right now, and I like the way FIBA calls it, but it's frustrating when it's called one way through college, high school, their whole life. Then you get to the NBA, and it's like, all right, bro, we made these rules easier for you since y'all are the best players in the world. Again, I still love the NBA. I'm just spitballing on the traveling stuff right here in FIBA. So traveling again, a pivot is the legal movement in which a player who is holding a live ball on blah blah blah. That's your pivot foot. Right here, they call it differently in FIBA. Player who comes to a stop on his first step has both feet on the floor. They may touch the floor. Let me see. They have it in here where basically, I'm trying to find the exact line, but basically they say once you establish your pivot foot, you can't pick it up at all. If you pick up your pivot foot, there's no step throughs or anything like that in FIBA. If you pick up, here it is right here. To start a dribble, the pivot foot may not be lifted before the ball is released from the hands. So yeah, right there. To start a dribble, the pivot foot may not be lifted before the ball is released from the hands. So in FIBA, you see right there, they do call it that way, and that's kind of how I feel like the NBA used to call it like that, where if you try to go through the step through and you pick up your pivot foot at all, they're just gonna blow the whistle and call you for a travel. But that's the way it's called in FIBA basketball. That's why you see when the United States goes to the Olympics, there's some, I don't want to say shocks with the rules. They know how the rules are different, but it takes the United States a little bit of time to kind of adjust to the FIBA Euro style rules because the rules are a bit stricter, and I honestly prefer the FIBA rules. I say they're stricter. There is a rule in FIBA where there's no offensive goaltending. So if the ball is in the cylinder, who cares? Just grab it and tip dunk it right back in. They don't care about that. So there are some things that are different about the rules, of course, but I like the way they call the travel way more than how we call it in the NBA. Again, right here, to start a dribble, the pivot foot may not be lifted before the ball is released from the hand. So, again, if you pick up your pivot foot, you have to already be going into your dribble, where in the NBA, you can pick up your pivot foot and then go to your step through move. I want to see, I guess you can catch the ball in your triple threat position, go straight to your step through, and go to a step through move basically to start your dribble. I haven't seen players do that, but that would look really strange if you understand what I'm saying. Let's say you catch the ball, you still have your dribble alive, your left foot is your pivot foot, and then you step through to the right, you step through a double team and you come through and then you start your dribble. If that makes sense, I've never seen a player do that, but honestly, like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers. Show me some love. Comment below what you think. But I prefer the FIBA rule on traveling, to be honest. Let me know what y'all think, but to be honest, I don't really like all the step through moves and stuff like that because things are already easy enough for the offensive players as it is. Offense is just exploding in the NBA. There's plenty of offense right now. The players change, the eras change, the game changes, and I feel like it's about time that the commissioner of the league, we can add some more physicality back into the league. I don't know if bringing hand checking back would be a good idea. I have heard people talking about that. Um, People that didn't watch the 90s are going to say, oh, we're going to bring hand checking back. It's the dead ball era. Again, all of a sudden, we're going to be scoring 85 points per game. It's really not like that. I've been watching the 90s finals. I watched 91. I'm watching 92 when the Bulls are playing the Trailblazers in 92, of course. There is hand checking going on. The defense in the interior is way more physical. They get away with way more physicality inside in the post. They let that happen back then. But the perimeter defense in the 2025 Oklahoma City finals against the Pacers, perimeter defense was way, way more physical during this 2025 final series that we just had. OKC was getting away with a lot of hand checking. The Pacers were getting away with a lot of hand checking. Just their lateral movement, just the physicality off the ball. If you don't believe me, just go back and watch the 2025 finals. If you're a 90s hoops head and you didn't watch the finals from this last year, I'm literally watching the Bulls games right now, day by day, and the physicality in the paint is not even close. Way more physicality down in the paint. But my point is basically that the hand checking that they're doing in the 90s, it wasn't making a gigantic impact against the players back then, and it may have been making some kind of impact, but how skilled players are today with their dribbles and all the off-ball movement, everything going on, I think bringing back hand checking could be a cool thing for the NBA because offenses are just so good and advanced these days. I feel like it's time to bring the defense back up to where it can be kind of more even for both sides, and I don't think that would drastically reduce the scoring in the NBA. Yeah. I hate the NBA. The 90s are the best era ever. Come in my paint in the 90s. I'm going to catch you with a 1-2. I'm going to knock you on your ass. The 2025 suck. These boys take too many threes, and these boys are all sissies. Let's just try to still enjoy basketball. It's still awesome to watch. But with that being said, I do prefer the FIBA style of calling traveling. Let me know if y'all noticed that before too, because that's always been the rule book's always been like this. So the step through move has always been legal. I guess just within these past 5 or 6 years, somebody figured it out and said, according to my calculations, Rule 10, Section 13, this is how travels are called, and I actually can do my step through move, and you are wrong, Mr. Official. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you noticed the step through move kind of explode, and if you felt like, because I felt like, 10, 15 years ago even, they wouldn't allow this move, and now all of a sudden, all the players are doing that step through move like crazy. But please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think.